Yes, folks, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to KGX to the ZTV. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn those notifications on. Algorithm, something. You know the deal. Let's get into it. Lincoln City 1, Chelsea 2, through to the fourth round of the Carabao Cup, formerly known as the League Cup, Budweiser Cup. You can go back. Changes every few often, but yeah, terrible performance. You could say lucky to go through, and I wouldn't argue with you. You could say embarrassing. You could say fortunate, but I'll go with lucky. I'll go with lucky because it was a diabolical performance. It was a performance worthy of a third round Carabao Cup exit. All those jokes we ran on United for losing to Grimsby, the reality of that coming true for Chelsea, fine margins. Fine margins, because for a team with internationals scattered throughout, we had Hato, Dutch international, Fofana, Fringe international, Chalaba, Fringe international, Gusto, French international, Enzo, an Argentinian international, Santos, a Brazilian international, Garnacho, a Fringe Argentinian international, Gittins, an under 21 England international, Tyreek George, academy kid, Buonanotte, Maloney. But a side that was fairly strong, fairly rotated, which we all wanted to see, with the exception of Mark Guéhi up top. But shocker, Chelsea ownership and Chelsea board made a mistake, didn't know the rules, didn't know that there's no such thing, I guess, anymore as being cup tied. Guéhi could have easily played and started in this one. Would have been his first minutes of there. I saw some rumors of him possibly being injured. I don't think that's true. I'll be completely honest with you. I think that's a lie perpetrated by the Chelsea hierarchy to justify a clerical error, a mistake. Guéhi didn't even travel. They didn't even know the rules. We wanted to see him. We desperately need him right now. Not saying that he's the difference between us and major trophies, but without another out and out number 9, you get what we got with Tyreek George up top. But credit to Tyreek George, because he's one of a handful of players that can hold his head up high after that performance, because he ultimately chipped in with a goal, wonderful goal, a hell of a strike, and then an assist on the Buonanotte second goal. But let's get into it. Yeah, I rewatched it again. Call me crazy, because it was just as painful a second watch as it was the first watch. Actually, to be more honest with you, it was more infuriating, because with you knowing the result, you just get to focus on the patterns of play. You get to focus on the individuals. You get to focus on the rhythm of the game. Whereas during a live game, you get to kind of focus. Your emotions take the best of you, because you're in the balance when it comes to the outcome and to the result. But from the onslaught, on the onset, it was an onslaught in our box. Jurgensen in goal. Ooh, let me tell you, we Chelsea fans, I'm speaking to all of us, this is a concrete fact. I don't want to hear anybody in the comments. I don't want to see anybody on Twitter, anybody on social media, TikTok, Instagram, run with the narrative that Robert Sanchez shouldn't start week in and week out, because Jurgensen, my God, that was coming off of his disaster class versus Manchester United on the weekend. That was one of the worst goalkeeping displays I have ever seen in my life. It was absolutely atrocious. I've seen better goalkeeping displays in pro clubs with manual goalies in EAFC/FIFA. He was out there punching the ball, missing the ball, punching Fofana in the head, not commanding his box. And look, credit to Lincoln. They said before the match, we have a variety of long throws and set pieces that we are going to attack Chelsea with. They won. He wasn't lying. He was not lying. Not one word of fabrication came out of his mouth, because literally from the kickoff, this is how the kickoff went. They kicked off. They passed it to the player right behind him. He juggled it in the air, kicked it up into the air for us. We win the header. Second ball comes. Enzo boots it out of bounds for some God knows reason. Enzo also diabolically bad again. And what do they have within 10 seconds? A long throw in. And what happens? They throw it in. Fofana, Wesley Bofana. Absolutely atrocious. If I see anybody give this guy any credit, yes, I know he's been injured for the best parts of 3 years. This is Lincoln City. This is a League One side who I don't even think is a very good League One side. He proceeds to miss his aerial duel, which was a running theme for him for the entire match. 17% aerial duels. I looked it up, and I'm not even a stats guy. I wanted to see how many aerial duels did he actually win, because he was god awful, atrocious, diabolical, stinky. You look up every bad word in the dictionary, it's going to have a reference to that Wesley Fofana performance, because he misses the header. He runs and flails his body, throws his body at it, doesn't get to it. It drops. It's a calamity in the box. He tries at one point, tries to step up and play an offside trap. They play it right around him. And then within like 90 seconds, they're already sending a shot off of our post. Jorgensen, I don't know what the fuck he's doing back there. He's just watching all of this calamity unfold in front of him. He's trying to punch stuff. He's missing stuff. He's trying to catch it. He can't claim a pass. And the weather was lovely. The weather looked fantastic. Not a cloud in the sky. No precipitation. But for some God known reason, he could not hold on to the ball. And he's got to go. He has got to go. And whoever brought him in, paid 30-some million for him from Villarreal, you need to also go. When we shipped off Renato Vega to Villarreal, we should have snuck Jorgensen in the luggage, folded him up, put him into the luggage, shipped him expeditiously. What is whatever their shipping services over there, FedEx, DHL, I don't know. But whatever it is, next day air, get him the fuck gone immediately. Because he, at one point during this match, I was saying to myself, we miss Robert Sanchez for all the bozo moments he has, and he has a lot, for all the poor positional play, for all the poor distribution where he kicks it just right out of bounds, which he has a lot. He can at least claim crosses. He can at least get to balls in the box. He is at least somewhat of a physical presence in there. But no, Jorgensen, just terrible. Just terrible. And there's no shocker when they go up 1-0. Comes off of a scrum in the box. Gusto's flailing at it. Trevor Chalobah is just Trevor Chalobah, my God. My God. All the goodwill that he earned in the second half of last season when he came back on loan this last 3 weeks, all forgotten, because Enzo plays a schoolboy error under no pressure, drags the ball back, plays a lofted pass right on the edge of our 18, or maybe just inside the edge of our 18-yard box. Trevor Chalobah, again, weather conditions perfect, misreads the pass, takes a step back, and then instead of making a aggressive move towards the ball, putting himself between the ball and the body. He does neither. He lets the Lincoln attacker get in front of it, and next thing you know, he's sliding it past Jorgensen. Not much Jorgensen could do on that goal, to be honest with you. The kind of pressure that Enzo and Trevor put them under. That's two senior players, by the way. Senior players with a lot of experience. Champions League experience, World Cup experience, won trophies, and just schoolboy era. And you know what? Shout out to Paramount for fucking it up as usual, because we could not even see the goal. We literally came back from a replay and they were putting the ball into the back of the net. Running theme with Paramount Plus. Get it together. But yeah, we're down 1-0. And first half, we can't get anything going. We had maybe 2 shots on target. A Gittins chance where Enzo, sort of from the left half space, sends a cross in over the top. Gittins hits it first time. Difficult shot. And then second chance was probably all created by Gittins on the left-hand side. He shoots it into the side netting. But Gittins, Santos were 2 of the only bright spots in the first half. Everything else wasn't clicking. We couldn't build out from the back. We could not, opportunities we did, Tyreek George couldn't hold it up. He's not a striker, but we know that. But it shows you where the manager's mindset is in terms of who he rates and who he doesn't rate. And yeah, you know, could have used a Mark Huey if our club hierarchy knew the rules. Read some emails, check your spam folder, see if that was in there. Oh yeah, Mark Huey's eligible to play in this one. Mind you, he's back home in West London, chilling, watching it. Probably upset. They probably didn't even let him know that we fucked up. Yeah, my bad, Mark. Sorry about that. Maybe next time. Maybe next round. Lucky that there is even a next round. But yeah, halftime comes. It's so bad that Maresca sends them out early. You know how when you're playing schoolyard, growing up football, you get out there a little bit early because you want to just get some more touches in. And yeah, Lincoln City, League One, our entire team is out there playing one touch. Credit to Maresca, because whatever he said at halftime, they responded. Tyreek George immediately responds. We get 2 goals within 10 minutes. But I'll be honest with you, I thought the floodgates were going to open. They did not open. And yes, we controlled the second half much better. Their chances were a little bit far and fewer in between, but they still were dangerous in there. There were still some opportunities in there where they sent a cross in. Gusto misses the cross and then misses 3 tackles inside of 10 seconds in the box. I don't even know how that's fucking possible. How is it possible to miss 3 chances, 3 tackles, and luckily Lincoln scuffed it because they had some opportunities in the second half where if the Lady Luck was on their side, perhaps they would get a foot on something and toe poke it past Jorgensen, because the bullshit that he was on in the first half, he was on it in the second half as well. But yeah, we escaped 2-1. Tyreek George, man of the match, a goal and an assist. Shim came on later for him. Reggie Walsh got some dirty 30 seconds at the end of it. Cucurella had to come on to sort of short things up. Pedro Neto had to come on. The Lincoln, and look, I get it. You know what the game plan is going to be when you go Carabao Cup away to lower league opposition. I didn't see Brighton have any problems yesterday. 6-0. I don't expect Man City, Arsenal to have problems today, but us, we're in a bad moment because we go to Brighton, or we go home, face Brighton with no Cole Palmer. Yeah. Confidence is at an all-time low. Fingers are being pointed. Rumors are being spread. Is there friction between Maresca and the board? Is Maresca making the statements by not playing certain players? I didn't even mention Sonic with veneers, Alejandro Garnacho. He was fucking awful. I heard that even the Lincoln fans booed him coming off the pitch, singing derogatory songs, which we won't repeat, and we only won't repeat them because we don't know them. But he was absolutely horrible. Shot shot selection, tracking back, beating his man 1v1. I mean, all the things that we knew about Garnacho reared his ugly head. And I was looking at this match as a match for players like him and Gittins to sort of get their confidence up, maybe sneak a little G&A in there to help boost the stats, Gyökeres style. But we came out with more questions than answers, more heebie-jeebies than good feels. And when we move to Brighton this Saturday, we rock up to the Stamford Bridge, it could be a problem because this defense, tactically, I don't know if there's any saving it. I do not know if there's any saving it because you cannot possibly hide the poor defenders that we have right now at the moment. Board says we didn't need a center back, but then comes out today that there's money in January to reinforce the squad. Where the fuck was this money when Levi Colwell went down? Oh, I know where it is. You went out and prioritized Garnacho over Xavi Simons, over another center back, told Maresca to find internal solutions. He's not a miracle worker, folks. You can't turn water into wine. You can't turn players like Tosin, players like Chalobah, players like Fofana into center backs that can win you major honors. And it's, you know what? And it's, part of me feels a little sorry because the fact that we have these players in this situation, we brought Tosin in. Tosin was never supposed to be a starter. We're not supposed to be depending on Fofana given his injury record. Chalobah's a fringe player, academy kid, was probably supposed to be sold because of PSR and FFP, help balance the books. But no, here we are week in and week out, rocking up to the Allianz with Trevor and Tosin, rocking up to Old Trafford with Fofana and Chalobah, rocking up to Lincoln with two senior center backs and still not winning any aerial duels or passing out the back. And my God, Trevor Chalobah and Fofana, two of the worst center back passers when it comes to building out of the back that I have seen in this league over the last few years. I mean, I've seen center backs at relegation sides that look more comfortable on the ball. So yeah, we've got a lot of work to do. And you know what, folks? It might get uglier before it gets prettier. But look, some folks tried to tell you this transfer window, you separate the outgoings from the incomings. Outgoings, 9 out of 10. Fantastic work. But you also don't get credit for all of those outgoings because you brought in a lot of those players. And a lot of those players didn't work out because they should have never even been brought in. But you needed to because of PSR, or maybe we don't have enough seats in the stadium and we don't get the match day revenue and all that stuff. So we've got to find creative outlets, selling the women's team to ourselves, selling the hotel team to ourselves. At some point, the loopholes are going to close and it's going to get down to investing in the first team squad and giving the manager the tools that he asks for or the tools that he needs to be successful, and saying, you know what, maybe if my manager tells me we don't have another player like Levi Colwell that can build out of the back, maybe you go out there and you get him one that can do that. Loan option. Look, I'm not a sporting director. I'm not a scout. It's not my job to go out on Y Scout or to go out on comps across the internet or FBref and compare data and statistical analysis. No, I use my eyes, I use logic, and I use experience. I use what these folks have put on tape and what I've seen from them over a certain length of time. And it's shocking, the disconnect between the board's expectations, the ownership's expectations, and the fans' expectations, and the manager's expectations too, because he does not look a happy figure. He does not look a happy figure, and he's getting a little bit of the same medicine that Poch tasted. And yes, we were very happy to feed Poch some of that bad tasting medicine, but we like Maresca. Just a few months ago, we were all singing his praises as we lifted the Club World Cup trophy, as we finished top four, as we won the Conference League and achieved all of our targets last year, despite the board and despite the ownership almost trying to sabotage us and make us weaker in January. We've gotten weaker since last year. Since the beginning of last year, yes, we've gotten a striker in, 2 strikers in with the lap. Yes, he is unfortunate. He's been injured. Yes, we got a backup for Cucurella. The left wing situation is worse than last year's. The defending situation is worse than last year's. The depth, Buena Note. Last year in this game, we would have had Nkuku out there. We would have had João Felix out there. We would have had Vega out there. We would have had some real senior established players with a resume to get us through a little bit more comfortably. But no, now we're relying on project players like Gittins, project players like Garnacho, who have failed elsewhere. Folks, I don't know what to tell you. Matter of fact, I do know what to tell you. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, show your boy some love, and we'll see you at the Brighton.